Hi, Bryant.
Hey there, Rosalie.
It's good to see you. I'm glad you're here to talk a little bit about Passover. I'm Cantor Rosalie Will. I am a worship consultant and leader and coach, and I'm the director of worship and music for URJ. Bryant, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, my name is Bryant Heinzelman. I'm a diversity, equity, and inclusion consultant, mainly for North American Jewish communities and quite a bit for the URJ. I do some youth engagement consulting as well, but in days of COVID, here we are on Zoom.
It's true. And the good thing about Zoom now is that we can talk a little bit and sing together. Um, it's been interesting to think about as we get closer to Passover, wonderful Passover memories, what parts of the history of Passover have meant to each of us, particularly because we both are musical and love to sing, and that's part of the sacred story that we tell. I was thinking about how Passover has impacted me, particularly in my sort of commitment to justice and where some of those roots might lie, and how music has done that. And it reminded me of the first women's Seder I went to. It was the late 90s when I was a cantorial student in New York. I'd never been to a women's Seder. And I went, and there were many wonderful, powerful things that happened. You know, the strength of powerful women telling and teaching and singing. The story itself is just so powerful of the fight for freedom and liberation. But what I remember being moved by and really changed by was the idea that part of the real story of Passover and in the Haggadah throughout the Seder was about giving voice to the voiceless. That there's so much bondage that people feel, not just maybe as a group of people who need to leave a tyrant to be free and move through history, but people who don't have a place, who don't have a voice. And that the Seder really reminds us of all of those people who are not yet free because they're not seen, they don't have a seat at the table. And that was really powerful experience. The song that opened the Seder was written by beloved Debbie Friedman of blessed memory, called The Time Is Now. And it really speaks to, I'll sing a little bit, this idea of everybody coming with their brokenness and with their strength and with their fullness of identity and self. And that if we're going to do this story of freedom right, then everyone has to be at the table and everyone's voice has to matter. And I think that sort of helped me on my path. So I'll sing a little bit of it for you now. The time is now. We've gathered round. So bring all your gifts and bring all your burdens with you. No need to hide. Arms open wide. We gather as one to make a makom kadosh, a holy place. We come to tell, we come to hear, we come to teach, to learn, we come to grow, and so we say, we'll make this space a holy place, so separate, so whole. Rejoice every soul who enters here. I'd love to hear a story from you now, Bryant, about a Seder, a song that was particularly important to you.
Sure, sure. Thank you for sharing, Rosalie. That was beautiful. I think what first comes to mind is my actual first Seder. I'm a Jew by choice. I came to Judaism later on in life. I always knew I was meant to be a part of the community, but it wasn't until about maybe 10 or so years ago that I moved to Chattanooga, Tennessee to seek out a rabbi and actually go through the conversion process. And what was great about that community was that the Reformed community, the Chabad, and the conservative community all kind of joined as one and supported one another. And they definitely all supported me. And there was one family in particular, the Brook family, that had me over for every holiday. They always had a chair ready for me. And so my very first Seder, we were going through, and it was all new to me. We were looking through the Haggadah, and there were these beautiful Hebrew words and these stories, and I was familiar with them, but I never experienced the community portion. Um, and then we came to this part in the Haggadah that had "Go down Moses" in it. And I couldn't believe it because that was a song that I was very familiar with. It's an African spiritual, and my mother being from Birmingham, Alabama, it's just something that I was very familiar with. And so I'm going to sing a little bit of that for you now. I was actually invited to sing it that day, and it kind of cemented me in my mind, my belonging at that particular Seder. So I'll sing a little bit. Go down, Moses, way down Egypt land. Tell old Pharaoh, let my people go. Go down, Moses, way down Egypt land. Tell old Pharaoh, let my people go.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that. Um, do you feel the same way when you sing it in other spaces? Does that remind you of the Seder? Does it take you back to that moment? Because it sounds like it was pretty impactful and powerful and created these deep roots and relationship there.
Absolutely. So, whenever I sing that song now, and particularly whenever Passover comes around, it kind of reminds me of the different intersections that I have as a person in the Jewish community. My family, I come from a mixed race family. My dad's German Polish from Wisconsin, and my mother's from Birmingham, Alabama. And here I am, Jewish, and there's Christian and Islamic practicing folks in the family. And but when we all come together, we're still one. And I think that the same is true in the Jewish community. We come from so many different places, and we have so many different traditions, but we are still one. Here, Israel, right? We're still one.
I love that. Well, it was so good to talk to you and to share these stories and the music. And maybe one day we'll get to sit at a Seder together and continue to share the singing. I would love that.
I sure hope so.
Take care. It's good to talk to you. Bye.
You too. Bye.